Hello everyone, Mr. Schultz here, and we're going to do a quick dive of how to solve quadratics. Now, besides graphing or using a table, we could do the following. First one is we are going to factor it or to use a area model. So let's write that in three, two, one. So the first thing we're going to have to do, this is called the AC method. If A is greater than 1, which it is, A is equal to 4, we're going to take that and we're going to multiply it to C, which is negative 12. And so we're going to set up a diamond problem and say, hey, we want something that's equal to negative 48 multiplied equals negative 48, but adds up to negatives 2. So now we're going to run through and see if we can figure out what could that be. So I could be like, all right, what about, like 8 times 6? Well, 8 times 6 won't equal that. Well, what if I say negative 6 times 8? Well, negative 6 times 8 is negative 48, but 8 plus negative 6 is 2. Well, I just need to switch it. Let's make it negative 8 and positive 6. So now it works with the multiplication and it works when I add. So this becomes negative 8 and this becomes 6. So what we have to do is we are going to pretend that we have our area model right here. We are going to multiply. So what we're going to do is we understand that when we have factors, polynomials, we're going to be multiplying them. We understand that this left one is just going to be 4x squared. And this right one is going to be alone and going to be minus 12. But we can't figure out what's the middle one. We just did though. This negative 8 and the 6 is our negative 8x, and this should be positive 6x. So we have to do this in order to figure out what is this. So we just figured out this right here. That was step, 2. Step 3 is now we just have to figure out what are we factoring. Well, if I factor out a 4, now I'm going to do this wrong. I'm going to show you. If I factor out a 4x, then this has to be 4x times negative 2. And then if this is negative 2 times what equals negative 12? Positive. And so if this can be an x right here. And so we get this right here, 4x and a 6, x and a minus 2. But wait, could have been something different? Let me show you in just a second. So sometimes it doesn't work. In this case, it looks like it does. So what I was thinking about was if I have a 2x right here, and then 2x times what equals 4x squared, I'm like, oh, that's going to be 2x. Then I figure out, hey, this is going to be 3, and then 2x times what? That would be a minus 4 right here. But looking at this, it looks like both of these could be correct. And I figured out why while I paused it. I figured out, hey, I made it even, so I can divide by 2. Let me show you what happens. So let me take this top one right here. I have x minus 2 times the quantity 4x plus 6. Technically, I could pull this out, and I'd have 2 times x minus 2, and then I have this right here, 2x plus 3. Well, there we go. Like, it's the same one, but like I'm pulling it out. I'm factoring it out. So if I wanted to solve what are the solutions for this, well, I figure out what makes this 0. This would have to be 2. And this right here, I want to get rid of this 2. So I'm going to divide it by 2. And what do I want? I want 3. But I don't want positive, I want negative. So my two solutions for this would be 2 and negative 3 halves. Now let's solve it again, a different way in 3, 2, 1. So we're going to solve it by completing the square. So let's write that. All right, so when I'm completing the square, there's two different ones I could be doing. I could be doing the square of x minus a or the square of x plus a. It's either going to be one of those. And that's what it looks like right here. Here's x minus a right here. And here's x plus a squared right here. This is what we would get. So now let's see. First thing I want to do is I want to divide by 4 on both sides, which is easy because 0 divided by 4 is 0. Then I'm going to get my result of x squared minus 1 half x minus 3 is equal to that. Now I have to figure out what times 2 will equal this number right here. So hold up a second. So if it's half, I'm going to know that half of a half is 1/4. So I kind of already know I'm going to be subtracting. So I know I do believe I want to be subtracting by 1/4. I'm going to have this squared like this. But I have to set it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to times, so 1/4 plus 1/4 would be 1/2. I'm going to set it up like this. I'm going to have x squared minus 1/2 x, and I'm going to move the plus 3 to the other side. And now I have to figure out what is 1/4 times 1/4. But wait, it's negative, which won't do anything because it's, positive now. So I'm going to be adding 1/16. And if I do it on one side, I have to do it on the other side. So this is the exact same problem as before, but it looks like we're getting into a little problem here. So let's show you why. So this is a perfect square of x minus 1/4 squared. It looks like this, x minus 1/4, and then you're going to have x minus 1/4. If you're like, wait, I don't get it. Well, let me just show you in just a second. I'm going to pause it and show you. So here's the area model. We have x squared minus 1/4 minus 1/4. That would be minus 1/2 x and then plus 1/16. So that makes this right here. That makes this guy. So I can literally break it down to this, which, if I break it down even more, would be x minus 1/4 squared. Now all I need to do is I need to figure out what is the square root of these two things. Well, now I need a calculator because I can't do this without a calculator. I'm done. So in your calculator, you'd be like 3, and then convert this to a decimal, is equal to x minus 1/4. And so I'm not going to use a calculator right now, but what would happen is I would add 1/4 to both sides, and I would get two different answers. I would have, where are you going? Why can't I see you? There you go. There you go. Where'd you go? All right, guys. Sorry, my little my pen ran out of juice, so I had to get another one. So, in what happens is, I'm gonna write this right here. All right, let me go scroll down a little bit. What happens is I'm gonna have two different answers. I have 0.25 plus and 0.25 minus, and the square root of this number is actually 1.75. So 1.75 equals x. So if I look at this, if I add it, I'll get 2 equals x. And I'll get negative 1.5 equals x. Hey, wait a second. We'll scroll back up and look at it. Hey, that's the same answer. Well, duh, we're about to show you why. Like, what's happening here is we are figuring out where does the graph hit the x-axis? Where does it hit the ground? Where does it hit when y is 0? That's it. Let's go on. Last one. Now, I'll tell you what I like, but let me show you the last one. Hold up. All right, guys. So here's the quadratic formula. If you have a quadratic, equation is equal to 0 right here, you can take this information and plug it in and get your answer. The only problem is you need to know the formula. And if you mess up, congratulations. There's nothing you can do. That's it. You have to have it exactly like this. And I'm going to give you a heads up. It's not going to be given to you. So you're going to have to memorize it. So it's going to be negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac, all of that divided by 2a. So let's understand that this is the same a equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now that we know that, what we can do is we're going to bring it back and solve it. So my b right here is negative 2. Well, why don't we write it out so we don't get confused? A is 4, b is negative 2, and c is negative 12. Well, now I just need to plug and chug. So I'm going to have negative negative 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 2 squared minus 4 times 4 times negative 12, all divided by 2 times 4. So now I can simplify a little bit. I'm going to make this equal to positive 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 minus 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 12 is, I'm going to have to pause and use a calculator. So it's at this. Oh, it's plus 192 because a negative times a negative is positive. But now I can simplify this. Except, why bother? I'm going to do 4 plus 192, and I'm going to get 196. So I'm going to do 2 plus the square root of 196 divided by 8. I'm going to have 2 minus the square root of 196 and divided by 8. So let's pause and show you. So using my calculator, using tools appropriately, the square root of 196 is 14. So 2 plus 14 is 16 divided by 8. And 2 minus 14 is negative 12 over 8. Well, what does that give us? It tells us that our solution is x when x is 2, or when divide by 4, negative 3 halves. Well, hold up a second. Let's scroll back up and look. We just solved it 3 different ways, and we got the same answer 3 times. So, the question for you is, which way do you like, and why? Bye, guys. Have a good one. I'll catch you guys in class.